And for the folks that say, well, if you spray, you kill all beneficial insects, well, there you go. There's one of many beautiful little ladybugs that are helping on the trees as well, too. So it doesn't seem to affect us that bad. Now, this is a different type of tree. This here is a pecan. And if you can get some nut trees into your orchard as well, that's a good thing. Problem with nut trees is they take so long to produce. This one's been in the ground here since 2000, and we have not seen a single nut off of it yet. It's 2008. There also seems to be a fair amount of problems. You pretty much cannot grow them organically from everything I've ever heard and read, and we have a friend up the way here that has roughly about 1,000 trees in his grove of pecans. They just require so much spraying and things like that. Now, a good older pecan tree, might produce several hundred pounds of pecans every year. So pretty much every area of the country has some type of nut tree that you can grow. So the other big plus there too for the preparedness minded or the homestead minded is the fact that of course the nut trees are going to give you essential oils as well as protein and things like that that you're not going to get in the fruits. Here's a little bit better example of what I was getting at with the drip irrigation. We're using this next to one of the garden plots as well. Is this black line here, this heavier line, is what's called the leader line. And I'm sure there's different regional names for this stuff, guys. This is 1/2-inch tubing is what it is. This right here is what's called a Bow Smith emitter. Alright, and technically we don't actually need this part here, this spaghetti hose, because it would just drip out water as it is on its own. But we're using that just so it goes right where it's needed. And here's some little grapes that we're planting along the edge of this fence line to the garden. So these are pretty new. Matter of fact, we just put these in 3 or 4 days ago. But that'll give you a little bit better illustration of how you would set up your drip line. This stuff's really easy to use, guys. It doesn't require any special tools and things like that. It's really, really good stuff. We've had really good luck with it over the years. This is the end of the line, as you might say, with the drip leader line. And what it is this is just a simple clamp. Doesn't even require any gluing and such that you use to end it. It's just basically a plastic figure 8. And you bend the hose over and you shove it back in, and believe that or not, it looks like a goofy design, and you think, oh, that would never stop water. But you remember from playing with hoses when we were kids and such that actually does stop the water off. And I've yet to ever see any drips or anything coming out the end there. So this drip irrigation, guys, it's very easy to use, but again, don't bury all of your ends. Make it, no matter what kind of emitter or spaghetti hose you use, make sure it's something to where you can actually see the water coming out. So when you do your inspections in the spring, you realize that everything's working fine instead of having to dig holes and disturb your plant roots and things like that. Kind of tough to get this because again, I'm pointing into the sun, but there's there's always stuff you want in pictures and there's stuff that you don't want in pictures. So unfortunately, there's certain angles I have to do some of these things, and some might not be the best conducive to use of the sun and such. So nobody needs to post any negative comments like I need to go to photography class or anything like that. It's not an issue of photography, it's an issue of OPSEC. Anywho, this is about what you can expect from pear trees. Oh, these were put in 2002. They'll produce, good couple dozen pears, this year, things like that. Little weed over there in the side yard as well. Walk down to this other orchard here just to give you a little bit of an idea of some younger trees and such. Here's another apple, fairly young. Getting back to where we were at earlier as far as the amount that you should have. Again, quantity is a sort of quality. Funny thing happened to us last year is when we had the problem with the plum cucurio is we basically wouldn't have had an apple harvest if it wasn't for the fact that we had just the sheer quantity of trees, and they were actually spread out in several different orchards around about a 20-acre property. So by all means, if you go with just 1 or 2 trees, is it better than nothing? Well, of course it is. Doing something is always better than doing nothing, or planning for eons and eons and never actually getting anything done. But, however, you're going to have best results with a quantity of trees. Several reasons. Number one, if there's ever a problem, okay, like the disease problem I discussed and things like that, not all of your trees will be affected with it at one time. Here's some baby plums from a approximately 7-year-old tree. Now you'll notice here what we've done is we've actually, when we bought these in pots, you can see the pot there that it came in. This is another way to do this, and again, this might not work for everybody. It's not a who's got the best tree kung fu video or anything like that. But what we've done there is we've cut the bottom of the pot out, and we flipped it over on the tree when the tree was young. Alright, now, if somebody comes in here and they start, if you're one of these really meticulous folks, now see, we're miles and miles in the middle of nowhere. I'm not so much concerned about weed eating around these plants and things like that. we use Roundup and such in the general areas just to keep the weeds down a little bit. But what you could do here is see when your weed eater's coming up, if you're weed eating with them, it's not going to eat up the base of that tree. So just a neat little trick that allows you to kind of protect the base of the tree. The only problem with this is, and I've never had it to be an issue, but you could see where it would come up, is that perhaps in the wintertime some field mice could end up living inside there. So again, it's just something to consider, weigh your options and such. But getting back to the fruit trees, how many per person and things like that, I like to recommend as a bare minimum, 4 fruit trees per person per year. Bare minimum. Okay? If you can do more, by all means do more. Why? Because again, they're not all going to produce every year.